comment. Just wanted to put together this channel to kind of showcase some of the things that I'm working on right now. It's something that some of my friends and family have asked me to do, to kind of keep track of some of the projects that I'm working on. I've always got something going on in my garage. I've always got some crazy idea drumming up in my head that I'm working on. So they're just kind of curious to see what it is I'm up to now. Right now, I'm doing a restoration on a 1968 Datsun. Now, my father-in-law gave me as a wedding present back about 6.5 years ago. I'm just now getting around to doing the restoration on it, but that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I've got a lot of things in store for it. We'll kind of talk about that here in a minute. A little bit about me. Right now, by day, I guess I should say, I'm a technical sales rep for the nation's largest distributor of diesel performance parts. Pretty cool job. I get to talk with a lot of shop owners every day, and that's kind of what's given me this idea to, you know, put myself out there and show what some of the stuff I can do and some of the projects that I'm working on, you know, spark some curiosity and open up some doors. By night, I'm a certified SolidWorks professional. I do a lot of CAD design, do a lot of drawings like that. Makes my wife angry. She calls it my other wife because I spend a lot of time designing things on there, but it's a lot of fun. So if you guys have any projects or any questions or anything that you can't figure out, let me know. Maybe I can build it for you and send you the files and you can get it built. Also by night, I do a lot of work in my garage on, you know, friends' vehicles, my family's vehicles, things like that. Recently I just had my buddy's truck in here. It was a 99 Dodge. We did a full motor swap on it. Turned out pretty good, really happy with it. My friend seems to be pretty happy with it as well. And I found that I enjoy teaching this type of stuff. So that's kind of where this channel is coming from. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy sharing the things that I know with my friends and with my family. And I hope that I can share some stuff with you guys and you can learn something as well. Part of the reason that I'm launching into this channel is that after I received my certifications in CAD, my father-in-law came to me asking about a rack for his BMW adventure bike, his GS 1150. He couldn't find anything. He couldn't find a rack anywhere. Couldn't find anything that he really liked because of how old the bike is, things like that. So he came to me and said, "Hey, can you design me a rack for my bike?" And so the thought and the idea of starting a company based upon vehicles that are rare or vehicles that are not super popular out there, and building parts for those vehicles, building, racks, crash bars, suspension components. Right now I'm designing pistons for the Datsun because I can't find anywhere that makes a piston for my vehicle that I really like. So right now I'm in the process of designing a high compression piston. Hopefully I can find a place to machine them for me. Obviously I don't have the machinery to do it, but with that idea and with that thought in mind, my father-in-law gave me the idea of starting my own company. Right now I'm in the process of going through it. The company is going to be named Thistle Motorsports, and like I said, we're going to be centered around products for vehicles that are rare or vehicles that they may not produce aftermarket parts for. So that's kind of the thought process here, and hopefully it sparks some interest in some of these vehicles. I'm really happy with some of the projects that I've turned out. I'm really happy with the Datsun project so far and how it's turned out. And hopefully, like I said, you guys can come along for the ride and enjoy working on it. Here it is, the Datsun. This is a 1968 Datsun Roadster 1600. In Japan, they're known as the Fair Ladies. In the United States, they're known as the 1600s. They came in two different sizes. They came in a 2000cc and a 1600cc. This one here, obviously, is the 1600. Super excited to share it with you guys. I've had a lot of people in my family and friends and at work and customers, things like that, asking to find out what it is I'm actually doing in my garage all the time. This is what I'm doing. I'm tearing this thing down to the bare bones, bare frame. The frame's over here. just doing a full frame-up restoration / resto mod type deal with it. I got this car from my father-in-law as a wedding present back 6.5 years ago or so. He had it for several years. He had bought it from a guy that did some restoration work on it, some upgrades to it, some changes, made some changes. The car was originally white, and you'll see that as we get into some of the filming and some of the build of the car. There's some spots that are still white because the paint job that they did wasn't that great. But anyways, he gave me this car as a wedding present. Really excited about it. He had issues with it running time to time, you know. He'd go to work that day and it didn't start, you know. He just had some intermittent issues with it. He decided that he'd give it to me as a wedding present and I could fix it up and make it into the car that I want. So that's what we're going to do. Like I said, we're going to do quite a bit of upgrades, quite a bit of changes to it, and hopefully get it into the quality shape that my father-in-law wanted and anticipated when he bought the car. You may notice I've got the wing up here, just sitting up here. Obviously it's not in its right spot, but you may notice that looking at it, it looks very similar to a MG midget. It is very similar. They're very, very similar in shape, design, things like that. However, my father-in-law, like I said, he had bought this car for himself. He really liked the MGs, but he's 6'4" and couldn't quite fit into an MG comfortably. So he did some research and found that the Datsun was slightly longer, slightly wider, and he found that it fit him very well. So that's why he went with this car. Me personally, I love the car because I grew up with Nissans. My first car was a 240SX. Did a lot of upgrades to that. Had it for a long time. Ended up wrecking it and having to get rid of it. And ever since then, I've wanted to do some of the classic Datsuns, a lot of the Z cars, a lot of the Roadsters, things like that. My favorite car of all time is probably going to be a 510 Datsun. Those cars are fantastic, and hopefully later on in this series or later on this channel, we'll get into doing a restoration on that if I can get my hands on one. But for now, we're working on the 1600. I've got the wing up here. Just kind of wanted to go over kind of some of the things that we're going to do with it. I wanted to show you a few of the things. Obviously, you've got your nameplates here, some door trim. The door trim follows all the way through into the rear quarter as well. We are going to get rid of all that. We're going to shave it down. We're going to make it flush. We're going to get rid of all the badging, and we're going to go to a classic Datsun design, I guess, paint job, I would say. The stripes coming down the side. Any of you that are into Datsuns, Nissans will know that'll be a classic throwback to the 60s race cars that Datsun had out. The 510s, the 620s, things like that, with the stripe coming down the side. I don't want to get into too much of what the finished car will look like because I want it to be a surprise for a lot of people. But that's kind of the plan as far as getting rid of the badging, things like that.